Okay, so boys and girls, one of the things that good readers do is they do something called monitor and clarify. Now today we're going to be watching a humorous video called Bend It Like Bianca. And so you are going to use a smart strategy called monitor and clarify. So sometimes it is a good strategy to pause and check your understanding. It's true for both readers and viewers. So when you're watching something, it's good to stop and check to see if you understand what you're viewing and reading. So if a text or a scene is confusing, there are strategies to clarify your understanding, to make clear whatever you don't understand. Because sometimes we don't always understand what we're watching or what we're reading, boys and girls. So here are some strategies. We ask ourselves, do I understand what I just read? So if we do, we just keep reading. If we don't, here are some strategies for us. If it's a word we don't understand, we try to decode it again. So we use our phonics strategies. We look for context clues. We look at the words around it, we look at the sentences around it, and we use our strategies for that. We replace it with another word. We see, does another word make sense there? And then see if it makes sense to us. Or we look it up in a dictionary or a glossary in the back of the book. If it is a section that or text that is confusing, we make notes about what confuses us. We think about what we already know. We might reread it and look for details we might have missed, because sometimes we get distracted when we read, right, boys and girls, and we may have missed something. And we look at the images and text features because sometimes that helps us clarify what we've been reading about. Sometimes that'll make it clear, because sometimes the text might be confusing to us, and then we could look at the images. There might be a graph or a table or a picture that'll help make everything clear, and then we can understand what we're reading. So this is a very good strategy for us. It helps us a lot. Now, here's what we're going to do. Now, when we're watching a video, one of the cool things we can do is we could rewind it, or go back and we can rewatch. Does anybody ever do that? Rewatch something?
A lot of times.
Sometimes I do that. If there's something that I missed, I'll rewind it to watch it again. I did that last night. I hate to say it, it was in a commercial. There was something so cool in the commercial, I had to watch it again. It would sound so silly, doesn't it? But it was for this cool faucet, and it had this part where you put a glass in it, and you put the glass down, and water shot up, and it washed the glass. I was like, oh my gosh, that's such an amazing feature. I had to clarify. I had to monitor and clarify this whole new system, this whole thing about how you can wash a glass. I thought that is a genius idea. Why didn't somebody think of that before? But it was very cool. So I rewound or went back, button on the TV and your remote control to see it again, because I was so interested in it. I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. Okay? So now, boys and girls, we are going to be viewing Bend It Like Bianca. And this is very interesting to me, and you're going to find out why. It's a humorous fiction video. So let's go to the build background. Is this it? Yes. And this is why, because it's an idiom. It's like, bend it like Beckham. Has anybody ever heard of a soccer player named David Beckham? You've heard of David Beckham? He was he's still alive because he's not that old. But he was a really world famous soccer player. Very, very famous soccer player. And there's a movie called Bend It Like Beckham. Anyhow, so it says here, in soccer, certain skilled players can kick the ball so that it curves or bends instead of going on a straight path. defenders can rarely block these shots because the ball zigs when they expect it to zag. This kind of kick often results in a goal. Who would want to have a skill like that? Soccer superstar David Beckham was known for his ability to bend his kicks. Let me move this up a little bit. Leading players all around the world try to learn his technique. If they could bend it like Beckham, maybe they could be superstars too. And here's David Beckham takes a free kick during a soccer game. So he was very, very well known. He was like the top soccer player for quite a few years. So David Beckham, super famous. Okay, and there he is. So that's David Beckham. And so the name of this story, or this video, is kind of a play on Bend It Like Beckham. And then there was a movie called Bend It Like Beckham. And so now we have a video called Bend It Like Bianca. So it's kind of like a play on all of that, boys and girls. So here's what we're going to do. We have got our story called Bend It Like Bianca. Go there. And what we're going to do is we're noticing this is a humorous fiction video that tells an entertaining story in visual and audio form. So everybody, could you turn to your page? It's on 392. 392. Open up your book to 392. Is everybody on 392? And so the purpose of a humorous fiction video, so it tells an entertaining story in visual and audio form, and the purpose of a humorous fiction video is to tell a story that makes the viewer laugh. It might use real people and places to tell the story with or without animation. Who knows what animation is? What is animation? What's animation? Mikey?
It's kind of like cartoon shows. Usually an animator.
Yes, it's like with cartoons.
The animator
Yes. And it has sound effects or music. Sound effects or music may be added for interest. And so here's what we're going to do. It says set a purpose. As you watch, recall what you know about story elements to help you understand the characters and the plot in the video. How does the video create humor? What makes Bianca different from the other members of the team? Write your answers below. So obviously we have to watch it first before we can answer any of those questions, boys and girls. And so we're going to do that.